Welcome to another Step Out show, and this is your regular host, Oscar Bimpong, always in the driving seat, taking you to your destination of success. It's been a wonderful, wonderful Thursday for me. I don't know about you, but as usual, we are here to really bring pertinent discussion that is going to help you to make informed decision in pursuit of your vision. And before I go on, I've got a very, very lovely lady who is doing extremely well, and she's here to share her values, and she's here to share her story, and she's here to impact your life positively. And I want to talk about the different shows on the Step Out show that is live on T2Y TV. And today we are going to talk about Step Out Youth Impact Zone. And Step Out Youth Impact Zone is where we engage with young people that are making a difference in their communities and making a difference in the world at large. Then also we will talk about another show on the Step Out show, a Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their product and services. Then we have got the normal Step Out with Oscar Bimpong. The normal Step Out with Oscar Bimpong is where we interview thought leaders, we interview experts, we interview people who are in leadership realm, and also anybody that is making impact in their society, and people that are really using their talent to make a difference in the world that we live in. And the last one, as part of the Step Out show, is the Step Out Authors Corner. Have you written a book? Some people have written a book that the book is still under their bed. Why? Because they don't have platform to share what the book is all about. What is your book all about? Just inbox us, come on the show, and come and talk about what your book is all about. And we are going to showcase you to the world. Now, straight to business, because time has already been spent. And today, as I said, we are on Step Out Youth Impact Zone. The young people that are the game changers of our generation. The ones that are not really taking the status quo, but they are bringing a difference to the world that we live in. And today, I've got a lady who is business-minded, career-oriented, and she is doing the unthinkable. And she is the CEO of Bees Bakery. She is in the person of Bridget Danso. Please, Bridget, welcome to Step Out Youth Impact Zone, and you are live on T2Y TV.
Thank you.
How is your day been like?
It's been busy.
Always busy. Life has never been, especially in London, we are always on the run.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is your first time to be on the show.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know about your expectations. What are your expectations? And what do you want to really let people know in brief?
I think definitely the idea of being able to do it all. I think as a young person, you have so many different expectations from your family, from society, of yourself. And sometimes you come up with these amazing ideas and you feel that you might not have the capacity to do them all, as well as still having a 9-to-5 job. So just letting people know that it can be done.
Wow. This question I ask everybody that comes on my show. Any person that is watching us now that does not know Bridget Danso, not in book, but in brief, who is Bridget Danso to the ordinary person on the street?
So my daily life is a project officer.
Mm-hmm.
So I work for a local council. And I guess in my spare time, I started a company which was pretty much driven from my home training.
Okay.
So I started baking with my mum. And after going to school, I realized that this was actually something that I enjoyed a lot and it could be profitable as well. So I branched out and started baking for events, for birthdays, for weddings, and that was it.
That was it. I think we will delve deep into that. This is just scratching the surface. Now, tell me about growing up.
So I was born and raised in South London. Pretty much most of my school life was done in South London as well. I went to Laritrate Secondary School and sixth form, and I was very science orientated. So it was kind of the standard.
When the men are running away.
The standard: go to university, become a doctor. So that was the plan, and I wanted to pursue that. I pursued that for I think until I was about 23. So I went to university for that. I did a pre-medical course, and then when I finished, I was to do my postgrad, but getting into postgrad was really difficult. So
is it the postgrad that takes you to the medical school itself?
Yes.
Okay.
So after you do 4 years of postgrad, then you're a doctor.
Oh, okay. So the grad, that one is for how many years?
For 3 years.
That's for 3 years, and that's more like getting a degree.
So it's a full degree.
It's a full degree. Mm-hmm. Then after you do your 4 years, mm-hmm. and you didn't continue to that level.
No.
What went wrong?
It was just so difficult to get in. I mean,
okay, it's very competitive, yeah.
Extremely. You have about 1,000 to 2,000 people for one place.
Wow.
And the average course is about 20 people to one place. So.
Wow. So where did you end up?
So I started working in my university after I had graduated, and I started in IT. And
so you were from a medical background and you started working in IT. Mm-hmm. What a transition.
I know, but it was, I think the advantage of being a millennial mm-hmm. is that you grew up on computers. So the transition wasn't that hard. And I worked there for a couple of months and I really enjoyed it. So it was more like help desking. So mm-hmm. you're not necessarily doing things with the computer, but just helping people when they have issues. And as I said, I really enjoyed it. So my next role, I took on a permanent role at the Royal College of Music, but mm-hmm. in IT. And I worked there for about 3-4 years.
Wow. So from there?
Then I went into projects.
Then you went into projects. So now you are into project management. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things that you do there? So it means that you've done different things within a short space of time. For people who are watching us, the Step Out Youth Impact Zone is about interviewing people who are between the age of, let's say, 16 or maybe even 12, if they are doing something very impactful in their life, to 30 years. And she falls within that range. And within this short space of time, you have had different jobs that are in different categories or expertise. How are you able to do that? Does it mean that you are very dynamic?
I'd like to think so. I guess in any situation, you should be adaptable. So I did find that was something that helped.
So, because a lot of young people, they finish school, and if they are civil engineering, if they don't get a job in civil engineering, they can stay home for 5 years because they think that was what they studied at school and that's what they should do. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to tell those people?
Don't have tunnel vision. Definitely explore. The world is really our oyster. We have the capability to do anything. So if it comes down to I studied A, you can go into B. I think I see it as having a degree is more a stepping stone to the next level. It doesn't necessarily define what you can do, or it shouldn't box you.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people should learn from this. I remember I went to Ghana sometime and I met a young man in a bus. We were coming from Accra to Kumasi. And this young man has finished his national service and he wanted to work at one of the big oil companies in Ghana, Tema Oil Refinery. That's where he did his service. So he was so desperate that they promised him they're going to pick him, like employ him after. And I told him to be open-minded in life. The fact that you're a chemical engineer does not mean that you have to end up to be a chemical engineer. So we talked at length for a 3-hour journey. Now, this young man took my number. In about 6 months' time, he called me and he said, look, what you told me, I started opening my eyes. And this is what he did. He typed all his notes, chemical engineering notes, from first year to final year, and put his project work as a sample on it as well. And he put it on pen drive, and he sold every single one to first year students. And he said the next year he was going to do for other courses as well. I said that is what open-mindedness is. You don't stick that you are A, so you have to stay A for the rest of your life. You need to be dynamic, look for opportunities, because opportunities, they come in different ways. So now, as a project management, when did you realize you can even be an entrepreneur?
So it was actually while I was still working in IT. And I think also one thing, especially as a Christian, understanding that God will place you somewhere and you have to use what you have in order to get to where you're going. So I was quite blessed to have a good manager who allowed me to have these opportunities to go on different courses and to see these different avenues. And specifically when I was working there, I always knew that I wanted to go back to medicine. But there will always be a situation where your pay is just not enough. And so I think that was mainly the thing that did it. And I think from getting student loan to getting a full-time pay, you get excited and your expenses also goes up. And before you realize it, you're left with no money at the end of the month. So then you have to learn how to budget. And then as you're budgeting, you realize that, if you had just a little bit more money coming in, it could go just that little bit further. So I had a bake sale at my work. It was a competition. And so it was based on departments. And
At where?
At work.
At work, okay.
And our department won. And so suddenly people were like, oh, who made the cake? Who made the cake? And I was like, oh, I did it. But it was never something that I would think that could become, what it is now. So one lady asked me if I'd be able to do her wedding cake. Now, from doing little bake sales to a wedding cake was a huge jump. But I think it also goes back to having faith in yourself and having faith in what God has given you.
So by that time, you haven't done wedding cake. We were just doing normal cake.
Normal birthday
cakes. Yeah.
But not a wedding cake. But for somebody to see something in you and trust in your ability is, just as important. So yeah, she gave me the cake and I challenged myself to do it. And it went
Since then?
I do many wedding cakes now.
So what was the feedback from people when you did the wedding cake, and especially from the person that you did it for?
So seeing how others went about their businesses, and with wedding cakes, you have your tasting before. So I invited them to mine. They tasted it, and I think when they tasted it was when they were more relaxed about how the actual cake would be, because they enjoyed the taste so much. And they decided to go for a naked cake, which is a cake that doesn't have icing on it. So once, it was more so feedback from the guests, because on the wedding day I didn't think they had the chance to eat it. But the guests who weren't able to eat so much sugar were able to really enjoy the cake.
Okay.
And they didn't have that limitation of having sugar and being mindful. So their feedback was extraordinary. And that definitely boosted my confidence.
Because a lot of people are not able to really have the confidence. For example, they haven't done it before, and this is somebody's special day. What are you going to tell those people that what should they do?
I think, especially when it comes to somebody that's starting up, putting your confidence in them is very, very difficult. But again, it goes back to, as I said, if you see something in them, give them a try.
So what did the person see, that you gave you that big opportunity, or the person didn't know that this was going to be your first cake?
No, I didn't tell her that it was. Not my first wedding cake, at least.
Wow. So from there, is it only wedding cakes that you do, or?
No. So we do cakes for everything, any type of event. We do corporate cakes. We do just general birthday cakes. We also do desserts as well. So
Okay.
especially as it's getting to summer, I get a lot of cheesecake orders.
Wow.
So
So now let's look at it this way, right? You said your money wasn't enough, and everybody's salary, I can tell you, 70% and maybe even more of the people across the globe, their salary is not enough. So everybody is looking for a way to complement what they earn, right? So you decided to have your career and a business alongside. How difficult is that?
it's not difficult with careful planning.
Okay.
I think the most important thing is time management. Everybody gets 24 hours in a day, and some people are so effective with those 24 hours. So managing your time, you know, I came up with a motto that sleep is for the poor. And that really and truly became it, because most of the time I would bake in through the night. So I could bake a cake the night before, come back from work, and literally put my bag down and start decorating. And I guess it's definitely important to have that passion when you're doing it, because if you don't, you get tired. You want to sleep.
So sleep is for the poor. I will come back to that one. I have got a very good friend, and we're a group of guys, but we call ourselves Team No Sleep. We don't just sleep. No, sleep is for the idle hands. We are not saying don't sleep. You need to have a rest,
Definitely.
right? But when things needs to be done, they need to be done. You don't just sleep while there's work, waiting for you. So I think that's a very, very good point that you are making, and I think people should take note of that. That it's good to sleep, but it's always best to do what it needs to be done first. That's why we call ourselves Team No Sleep, Yes, but you also made an important point, that time management. The rich has got 24 hours, the poor has got 24 hours. So it's about how you manage your time. But a lot of people say they don't have time. Nowadays, everybody seems to be busy.
Sure.
You can call somebody for so many times and they are like, I'm busy. Of course, you can be busy. But a guest came here and he said something. He said, don't misplace. He made a profound statement. And he was like, some people, they should not consider movement as progress. And all of us can be moving, but probably we are not progressing. So it's very important how we manage time. How can people manage their time effectively? Because a lot of people that have got career think that they cannot do anything in addition to that. And they have stuck with what they are doing. And some for the last 10 years, 20 years, they've been in one place. I was working in a place back in the days, and a woman has worked in that place serving coffee for 40 years. I said, God, this one, forgive me. I don't want to be part of this one. So how can people manage their time effectively?
So I read a book called Poor Dad, Rich Dad. And in the book, it talks about different things, more so money management.
Yes, exactly.
But also the idea of studying what people that are already rich do.
Yes.
And you find that rich people will wake up like 4 o'clock.
Yes.
From that 4 o'clock to the average person waking up around 8, in that 4 hours, they've been able to accomplish so much more than somebody who woke up at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
And the idea of sleeping early, because you can't sleep, if you're busy and you're not able to sleep, that's different. But on a normal day, sleeping early, making sure that you're rested, because when you don't sleep, your mind isn't active. And for somebody like myself who works in the creative industry, it's so important to make sure that I am rested. Yes, I can still do it without the sleep, but I need to know that I do have to listen to my body. So definitely waking up early will change your life. I definitely think the earlier you wake up, the more money you have in your account.
You're making some serious points here. The earlier you wake up, the more money in your account. And I think it's a good point that you are making. But you made mention about reading a book. some of us don't read. Some people don't read. They think that they can just wake up and do everything. No, there is a lot of information in books. And I think that is a good culture that you've created for yourself as a business person. You don't need to duplicate what you have to duplicate what people have done and put a twist on it, right? Somebody, they just that the cake that they do, there's less sugar. That's all they do. It's a strategic positioning. Some also do sugary. Like you have to, the system has already been created. All you have to do is to put what? A strategy on top of it. And I think that's what you are doing. So keep doing it and keep pushing. What is one of the biggest challenges that you face in business?
I would say support, so external support.
So what do you mean by external support?
So, for example, when you're starting something new, you usually undervalue yourself because you feel as though maybe you're not at the level, you're not at a professional level just yet. So a lot of the time, you don't put yourself where you're supposed to be in terms of price. So when I started baking, I would bake more so on exposure, knowing that I'm paying for the ingredients. Maybe the person is pretty much just covering my ingredients. And I would want the exposure, so I would do a lot of cakes for pretty much for free.
But that's what your customers also tells you. Oh, do it. Oh, just give me a low price.
Right.
Yes, and I will even tell more people. But they never tell anybody.
And those that do are the people that actually pay full price for it because they've seen the value in your product. And I think when I speak of support, sometimes friends and family don't necessarily see your vision as well because they know you and they know that you're in the structure of 9 to 5, so you won't have time to do it, or you're not able to do your 9 to 5 plus your own things and have your own business as well. And then I think it's also our culture plays a lot. Our parents might not necessarily always understand.
No.
So that definitely.
They want to say, no, that is Bridget. She's a doctor. That's all they want, isn't it? If you want to do, what are you baking cake for? But I think it's a very good point that you're making, and I totally agree with you, especially when you start. I always tell people, the least people that you really have to put your trust in is friends and family. I'm not saying some will not support you. Very few will support you. But you need to understand that they are the ones that if you're not careful, they can bring you down. Because all of you are on a certain level and you want to raise the bar to another level. They are not happy. They come in sarcastic ways. They will tell you, oh, Bridget, so do you think this cake business, you can do it? They come in so many ways. And a lot of people have been talked out of opportunities just because of friends and family. So I think that is a very good point. But you have been able to overcome it. How did you overcome
it? I guess being strong-willed. Being strong-willed, being confident in what you know, and understanding that it's a God-given business. You will see it through, irrespective of any challenge you go through. So it's definitely important to make sure that you know that and you believe that. And just stepping out on faith, the idea of going to places where you wouldn't usually go to market yourself, networking, doing things, and rather than telling people, showing them.
One thing that I've got to learn is that along the way of the entrepreneurial journey, strangers come along to push you to the next level more than your family members and friends. And one word that you said is strong-willed. A lot of people are not strong-willed. They don't have the self-belief that they can make it. And a lot more times, they are where they are because they don't believe in themselves. Have you ever done a business for somebody that you have felt totally that you are like, now I want to give up?
Yes, many times.
Many times.
Many times. And I think as a creative person, whatever you do, your heart goes with it. And there can be times where I'll do a cake, I'll be up all night, no sleep, and it just doesn't look how I want it to look. But the thing that really keeps me going is that when they see it, I mean, I've had people crying on my doorstep. And it's like, wow, something that I looked at and saw so many imperfections, this person has seen it as perfect. So I think the finished product, seeing people's reactions is a very big thing for me. Because there's been many times where I've decorated the cake completely and it's like 4:00 in the morning, I'm tired. And then, I don't know, something touches it and it messes it all up. And I have to start completely, start again. And I'll be up till the person comes and collects it.
Wow. I think you've done well for yourself.
Thank you.
At your age, I wish I could speak the way you are speaking in terms of mindset. Probably I will be a millionaire by now. So I think you should keep it up, because not a lot of people, especially in our generation, have got the mindset that you carry. So I want to imagine the next 10 years, how Bridget will look like. How do you see yourself the next 10 years?
Definitely, I would love to train people. I definitely feel like the next generation is just as important. The same way that I was able to say that we're able to look at people who have done it before and put a twist on it. We shouldn't wait for them to make the same mistakes we have or delay the way we have. So definitely training them up. And I think also one thing that I am working on is empowering women to do more. I feel like women are amazing multitaskers, but we place so much limitations on ourselves. And the idea of, okay, I want to be married by a certain time, have children by a certain time, doesn't allow you to live your best life. So one thing that is definitely on my heart is to empower women to do more. And I do have something that I'm starting up, which is called the 24/7 Woman, which is the idea of using that 24 hours that you have, for example, being a project manager in the daytime, a baker in the night, a mother, a wife, all of these different things, as well as owning multiple businesses. So that's definitely where I see myself.
Wow. I wish a lot of ladies are watching this, because I speak as a transformational speaker. I get the opportunity to speak in places. After speaking, a lot of women will come to me, and it's one excuse after the other. My children is so busy. I don't have time. And I'm like, go to YouTube, Google women who are millionaires with children, and you're going to see the kind of women who didn't give the excuse that you are giving, but they have taken the mantle to build businesses alongside all your excuses to become millionaires, and come back and tell me if it's not possible. You see, one of the problems we have in our generation is that we give too many excuses, and our excuses are too emotional, and we want people to accept the excuse. I was doing consulting for a lady who has started an own business, and she was giving excuses. I say, your excuses make sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to your vision. If you continue to give this kind of excuse, your business will collapse. And if your business collapses, it means that you didn't pay attention to your vision, but you paid attention to yourself. Because the vision is not for you. The vision is for you to impact other people's life. And if you are not able to do that, then it means that you have even created a gap of more problems in the world. So you are on the right track. I would like to interview the next 10 years, and all this that has been outlined will be a global brand. Because I even like the name 24/7 Woman, right? Yes, they can do it. It's just a matter of somebody needs to give them that strong will that they can make it. Now, what is your last word to people that will be watching you?
Make sure that you have the ability to take no as a step to the next level, utilizing your nose, building from your nose. A shut door doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to make it in. So have the mindset that you have no other choice but to be successful. You have no other choice but to win, and birth whatever God has given you. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. But before I go, I've got some few comments here. Eric Jerry says, good evening from Tema City FC camp, watching you live. The whole Tema Football Club are watching you live from Ghana, yeah, Accra, from Ghana. And he also said, poor internet connection here is not making us enjoy. Oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. Then Frank Asa says, very smart guest. And B. Ibrahim says, oh, okay. All right, then. That's a bit of poor connection. Okay. Yes. So my guest for today, Bridget Danso. She's the CEO of B's Bakery, and she is also a project manager as well. And she was with us at the STEPOUT Youth Impact Zone, discussing her entrepreneurial journey. It's been a wonderful discussion. But there's one thing that I'm taking from all this discussion, and that is, you say you have to have a strong will. It is only having a strong will that is going to cause you to overcome every challenge that you face, especially when you start and the naysayer says you can't make it. The people that knows you, they know your weakness more than your strength. Most of the times, as you are growing up, what they actually know is your weakness. Now, when you start that business or you start that vision, that is when your strength comes into play. So you need to activate your strength, and that is having strong will. Strong will means having the self-belief that you are born for greatness, the self-belief that you are born to make a difference in this world, the self-belief that you can make that positive impact. The people that are at the top are not better than you, but the only difference is that they had a strong will. Where is your strong will? What vision do you have? What do you want to achieve in this world? If you don't have anything that you are doing at the moment that can cause you to make a difference in our world, I want to encourage you that you can do better. We are not going. We are coming back with Step Out with Oscar Bimpon. I've got another expert in the studio, and he will be in the hot seat very soon to come and talk about a pertinent topic that is going to shape your life, shape your mindset, and shape your vision, and help you to make informed decisions in pursuit of your vision. So stay tuned. Don't change the dial. We'll be coming back very soon. Once again, thank you for coming on the show, Bridget.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you have gained the access to come back. All the best. All right then.